Let's have a conversation about how people can use their own personal strengths to help them, because we often hear in 12-step programs about, surrendering yourself to a higher power because you're not capable. I find that quite difficult on an intellectual basis. There are many things that I'm good at, and I should be cleverer. And in fact, somebody was saying on a Facebook group today that they've got a PhD, they work hard, they read science books, they read and scoff at newspaper articles about bad science, yet somehow they can't control their own drinking. And I seem to think somewhere, how can we help people pull in that reserve of wonderfulness that they have inside them?
But I think the higher power, or admitting you're powerless or helpless to alcohol, which comes with the AA kind of model, in a way that does tap into the fact that we can read as many books as we like, we can understand the theories and the principles behind things and the logic, and make plans that sound reasonable, but still not manage to follow through with them. So in one sense, there is a bit of surrender, I think, to, okay, maybe I need to accept advice from other people because I'm not doing it myself. But we do also have different strengths and capabilities that are unique to us, but that we can kind of bring to the party when we want to make any kind of change. Some people, like myself, I'm a real kind of planner and list maker, and I can use that to my advantage when I'm trying to, let's say, plan for a week. Look ahead. I'll put like meal plans out. I'll even put my supplements and my tablets out for each day.
You come and help me at home.
But I quite like doing that. That's something I would do anyway, and I can bring it to behaviour change because my planning is something that would help me. Other people are creative, and they can use their creativity or see it as a strength because they can look at other things that they could be doing instead of drinking.
So can I just come back to this surrendering bit? Because I guess it's not a surrender, isn't it? It's accepting that, maybe it's accepting that actually alcohol is more than just a common sense thing, because it's a substance that sort of seeps into every single bit of you, including your neurotransmitter in your brain and stuff. And so it is addictive. And that seeking help, I guess, is what that comes down to, of people who might have complementary strengths to you, including the knowledge about alcohol that you may not have. Or a bit like Johnny Pub Soda, which is talking to other people who've been there and done that.
Yeah, or doing somebody suggests a strategy and just doing it, rather than going, theoretically that strategy sounds like a useful one. Actually going, tonight on my way home from work, I'm going to walk a different way home from work because somebody suggested that's an idea.
Yeah.
And what actually I find people often do is go, I know I've got more self-control than that, so I don't need to avoid my route home from work.
Yeah.
But often they possibly do, or certainly it creates
it's
more
that I
urge.
should have more self-control than that, because we're full of, should's a word that I don't like using in Club Soda because I find it preachy.
Yeah.
But actually we do it to ourselves all the time. We should have more willpower. We should be cleverer. We must do this. We must do that.
Yeah.
And we seem to fail to accept that we're better at some things than others.
Absolutely. And other people have got things to contribute as well. Accepting help isn't something that I'm particularly good at, and asking for help isn't something I'm particularly good at either. And I do like to, like the illustration you were given, I do like to read books. I like to try and understand something for myself, and I'd like to think, having read all of the books on the matter, I would understand something, but that doesn't always translate into practical change.
Yeah.
And I think we're all guilty of thinking, I understand what you're saying, so great, and then not actually acting, not taking actual action.
So one of the things for me that was actually important in the end was that I accepted that I was never going to read the 5 books about drinking I had on my shelves, partly because I was always too tired and hungover to read, but I was also being quite belligerent about reading them because my inner person was going, no, because really you want to carry on drinking. And so finding a day to put aside and focusing on it by going on a workshop really helped me, because also my learning style is different. So I enjoyed being in a room with other people and hearing other people's story. I went away feeling that I was part of something bigger than just me, and that's part of my nurturing side, part of my extrovert side, and all of that sort of stuff.
And that's they're your strengths, and you bring them to Club Soda as much as you brought them to your sobriety and the steps that you needed to take. But that also meant, because of your learning styles and your preferences, that also meant that those things worked for you. The kind of mindset that you got yourself into quite quickly worked for you. Being a rebel non-drinker, going to pubs and bringing your own drinks
and making jokes. Some people would not see that as a strength.
Well, maybe not, but some people might not want, that might not be a skill that they have, and then they would be bringing other skills, which would be, maybe they're just very assertive, or they're able to ask for help, and they can ask everyone around them to help them, and that's a strength if you want to use it to help yourself stop or cut down.
And some people aren't very good at working out what their strengths are, because we're very full of doom and gloom about ourselves. So how would somebody go about going, right, what are my strengths and how might I be able to use them in this context?
Well, we have we had it a couple of days ago, didn't we, the strengths worksheet that we have on the Month Off Booze course, which is one of our live courses and one of our online courses as well. And it's a huge list. I mean, it's not so huge that it covers every possible human strength, but doing a bit of an audit, you can go online and type in, strengths inventory or strengths audit. There's all sorts of ones out there. Lots of them come from the field of positive psychology, but not all of them. And it's about kind of evaluating what your personal strengths are. I don't pick loads, but I mean, I tend to sort of advocate looking at trying to pick 5 to 10 top strengths, ranking them in order, and then going, okay, so if I'm, if one of my strengths is I'm funny, or if one of my strengths is that, I'm really organised, or I'm really good at getting people together, then how can I use these existing strengths in some way to help me achieve the goals I'm setting for myself? If that goal is reducing how much you drink, stopping, how can I actually bring these to this new action point I've set myself? Because we often go, well, oh yeah, but I'm just not the kind of person who does this, or I don't really like that, or if we keep saying what we're not, we're failing to say,
anywhere.
Well, what am I? What am I? And what, I'm not an idiot.
And
so
it may be that you know far more what your strengths are at work, because you've been through some process as part of a work assessment. And actually, they're not wrong. They are there. So if somebody says you're great at project management, and think, right, actually, how do I use my project management skills to make myself sober? If one of your greatest joys is reading a lot, which I think is a great strength, then how can you bring your skill and your love of reading to changing your drinking? And it might be, there's quite a lot of people in the Facebook group at the minute who are indulging, literally indulging in loads and loads of different books on the subject and telling us which are the great ones. You go, Laura, have you read this? And I go, no, I've outsourced it to you, Sue. And then he tells me all the good bits. But for me, actually, it's really interesting, because I get strength from knowing they've got strength from a book and understanding what it is that they've liked, and I'll take and do something with that. So you might know some of that from your work stuff. You may know that you're actually a very good parent, and those parenting skills may allow you to nurture yourself as well.
And you can ask other people what they think your strengths are. If they're people you trust, and if you choose to explain why you're doing a strengths audit, I'm trying to make a lifestyle change. It's really important to me. I don't want to keep putting, being down on myself. I'd like to use my personal strengths. I don't know what they all are. I think I've got some, but do you see me in another light? Because often people will see us, we present ourselves differently to other people than we are when we're just at home, and they'll see other strengths in us that we don't necessarily even recognise as strengths.
It's true. And would you and the people that you might have thought about at the beginning of the month were your cheerleaders, might be those people that you go back to and talk about it, because they've been with you all the way through, and they may have seen ways that you've coped over the months that you may not have even noticed about yourself.
And that, they don't have to be ginormous strengths. I mean, and sometimes they can be things that are a little bit hard to define. I've realised that I guess I have a strength in that I don't have FOMO. I don't have fear of missing out, or haven't yet had fear of missing out. Laura has it all the time. But in terms of the kind of things that might make it hard to, let's say, stop drinking for a while, I don't feel that I'm missing out on either whatever the buzz of being drunk, if there is such a thing, that's worth having, or on the fact that, for a while I'm just not going to go to all the social things that other people are going to, because I'd just rather, I'd rather just stay at home for a while and make it easy on myself. So for me, I don't have that negative comparison to other people, and I don't I always know there's another chance to do something, so I'm always able to deal with missing something, because it's not like the last time I'll ever get to do the thing.
What if that play's not on again? I mean, that's actually what's interesting for me is I've switched my FOMO around totally. So it's not about missing night out in pub. Somebody's invited me to a quiz. They've offered to pay for me and everything. And the thought of, that doesn't really appeal to me. My FOMO has totally switched to the things that are enriching me and engaging me. And so I worry about missing out on plays, which come back to a strength because I'm engaged by other people's stories and plays of other people's stories. I always come out hopping and skipping after I go and watch a play, unless it was a terrible one I saw last week.
So, I mean, if you want some instructions, for example, I would, either go to, if you're on the Month Off Booze, if you're on our course or one of our courses, then you'll have a strengths download. It comes towards the end of the course, in like the last week or the last 7 lectures. Or go on the internet and do a search for like strengths audit or personal strengths questionnaire. There's all sorts of them, and a simplified system you can do by yourself is just to kind of identify your own 10 top strengths, put them in order, from the thing that's your biggest strength, if you like, down, number them 1 to 10, and then actually scrutinize each strength and say, how could I use this particular strength in some way? It may not be in any huge way, but in some way, how would this strength contribute to me successfully reducing how much I drink or stopping drinking? And actually, try and write down as well. When we write things down, it's not just in our head, we're actually making it, a concrete fact. The fact that I don't have fear of missing out means that I will be able to cope with, leaving parties early, swerving some parties completely, and not ever seeing alcohol as something that helps me join in with things that I don't want to miss out on. So you can go through your strengths once you put them in rank order, and just literally look at how each strength could help you in some way. And it may be a small way. You might have to think a bit more deeply about how your humour, for example, might help you. But how do you think something like a sense of humour would help somebody cutting down or stopping drinking?
It allows you to deal with social situations by cutting it short with a joke. It also, if you're somebody who often use drink to get a conversation going, a joke can often use the same thing, do the same thing for you. So it's a strategy, really. You can use it as an exit strategy. And if you've got a fun joke, it's very good. I did a joke to one of our members the other day, and they took it seriously, and I had to go and say it. They're like, no. And I'm like, no. It's one of my funniest jokes. I love it. It makes me laugh. And then I realised that their mind works differently, and different things will work.
Yeah. So that's a nice little thing you can do, and that you could do a strengths audit. Generally, it's quite nice to have a reflection, a moment on that. But for other things that you're trying to make changes for in your life, because we all bring something to the party. Before we start saying what we're not and what we lack, it's really important to look at what we've got and how we can use that.
Perfect.